Thinking of moving to Lafayette, Louisiana? Well, it's the heart of Cajun country, offering such a wonderful laid-back lifestyle that you're thinking it's the perfect fit, but don't pack your bags just yet. I'm going to list for you guys 7 challenges that actually might make you think twice before moving to Lafayette, Louisiana. Hey there, I am Drake Abshire. I am a Lafayette, Louisiana resident, born and raised from this area. I am your real estate luxury expert down here in South Louisiana with Epic Realty, and I own the Solux Group, and we are your specialist for everything to know about the area. So what I want to do is educate you on some things that I think you need to be aware of before you make that decision of moving to this area. And because I'm born and raised from this area, I can tell you all of the different seasons, the different things that I've been through, the good, the bad, the ugly. And of course, you guys can always book a call with me if you have any more questions, or if you'd like to connect with me and my team. Check out the link in my description. It has all of my contact information there. Call, text, email. I'd be happy to respond with you and start that conversation to help you make that move. Let's talk about those 7 challenges, and let's go through all of these things that I think are so important for you guys to know before you make your decision. So the first thing would be that we have weather extremes. Those are things that I feel like you have to be aware of. We have brutally hot summers, and of course we can have also very wet and mop soggy winters. In the summertime, you can look at our temperatures being somewhere above the 90-degree range. I've even seen it hit plenty of times into the hundreds, especially for the heat index. And something that makes our heat so much worse is going to be, of course, the humidity. We have a very high humidity down here in the south. I'm not sure if it's because we're closer to the ocean or because there's so much swamp and water areas that are around, and bayous is what we call them, but you can definitely feel the stickiness in the air. It is not like being on the West Coast or anywhere where we have drier air up north. It is definitely hot, it's sticky, it's muggy, it feels more tropical, a lot like Florida if you've been there before. And so of course it causes our summers to be extremely warm. And when we're thinking about the heat, you have to think about how the heat affects every aspect of your life. It's not just when you're outside, because yes, going to a pool or hanging out on the water, the temperature is perfect for those types of things. But we think about the fact that the climate affects your heating and cooling bills, right? So your cooling bills may be higher in the summer times here because of you trying to stay cool. The daily choices that you make for wardrobe obviously affect. If you notice, I'm pretty casual here. I don't wear suits. I don't wear anything that's too heavy. I tend to lean on the lighter side of clothing choices just because I don't want to be drenched just walking from my car to a house, or from a parking lot from the store just getting to the car. Of course, when you get to the car, get ready for that hot seat. If you have a leather or some kind of vinyl seat, that seat is going to be hot. You want to cool it off as much as possible so you're not sticking to it. Now, a positive that I would say about the extreme weather is that we really don't have extreme winters. Our winters are pretty mild, so you can probably consider that a plus. If you don't love the cold, you won't see ice and you won't see snow very often here. That is a super rare occurrence. Actually, if it happens, it feels like everything shuts down. So I would say for the most part, it's a positive in that aspect that you don't have to worry about extreme weather on the winter side of things. Number 2 would be a persistent pest problem. Everyone knows in the South and Louisiana, we are known for having mosquitoes, but we have every type of bug I think that you can think of, and they can really get under your skin sometimes. You'll see some really interesting ones. So in June, they're known as June bugs. They come out right around this time of year, which is May, and they'll pop out during the summertime, and they're more than a pest than anything. They just bump into things and fall to the ground. I don't know, one of my old dogs used to love to eat them, but I'm hoping they were nutritional. She loved them. But I would say that it's more that it's just a pest. They don't really do much. There's these little things called mosquito hawks. They look like giant mosquitoes, and all they do is bounce against your wall, flying all over the place. Those again are just annoying. They're not necessarily just like attack you type bug or bite you or anything, but they call them mosquito hawks, I guess, because they're bigger than your average mosquito. Of course, we have all different types of spiders and things like that, and we also have wasp or dirt daubers. If you're not familiar with those, or mud daubers is what they call them. They create those little nests. Again, those are one of those things that are just more annoying than anything else. They make those nests that are like glue and you have to pressure wash them off, or they're really hard to remove. Wasp, I will say, in the summertime, especially in the country areas, the wasp can make nests in various areas, and to your surprise, you might run into one and get stung. It's not the worst thing in the world. Most people, bounce out of it. But again, just some of the critters and bugs and things that you need to be aware of in our areas. Of course, if you live close to any fields or anything like that, then you can expect to have field mice or rats that run in the area. There's possums, there's armadillos, raccoons, you name it. We have a lot of the little furry critters and different pests for the area. But the good news is that most of them don't really bother humans too much. They just bother maybe your trash can or just some other little areas of the garden. But overall, they don't bite, or they're not really known for attacking humans or any of your pets in any way. It's just something to be aware of, that they might be in the vicinity. And of course, one of the things that you want to keep in mind is also pest control. So I do have a pest control service that comes and sprays my house every 3 months just to help to keep all the bugs at bay, and it really does help. So I do recommend also accounting for the fact of doing that. It can cost you anywhere from about $100 to $150 each time they come out for a spray. Okay, so number 3 would be traffic troubles. So you might think, because Lafayette's a small city, like, oh, it's like the suburbs, you're not going to have any traffic. Well, that's not true. The city, I don't think, planned very well a long time ago for us to have great infrastructure. So because of that, I do think that it has created traffic congestion in a lot of places. And because we are trying to catch up and they're building roundabouts and trying to build faster systems and widen roadways, it has caused congestion because of construction that's happening in different areas. Some of the roadways are getting improved, but overall, yes, expect traffic congestion. And also the drivers are not known for being absolutely great out here. We are nice and kind people, but for some reason on the road, we tend to not be as courteous and as wonderful as they can be in person. So just kind of be aware when it comes to traffic and things like that. You might sit at roundabouts, you might sit at red lights. There are a few streets to be aware of, especially during the holiday season, that they might have lots of traffic that gets backed up. Of course, anytime during school hours, letting in and out, you'll find traffic in those areas. And of course, any of the 5 to 6 o'clock traffic in the morning or at night, those can be heavy traffic flow days. Just know in which directions that the traffic will be flowing. That way, if you know which direction you're going to be heading for work, hopefully you can avoid and go the way that's going to have the lower traffic congestion. Number 4, I feel like this is a pretty common in most suburbs, but overall, it's something to be aware of for Lafayette, would be that we have limited public transportation. If you rely on public transportation, I would say Lafayette is not going to be ideal for it. There is obviously a bus system and a way that you can get around, but we don't have anything like a rail or a train system. So be aware that you will need to own a car, or at least have some type of Uber or Lyft service that's going to be able to pick you up and take you to and from. But it can get really pricey because most stuff is actually spread pretty far out from here. So unless you plan to live in the downtown area, which is pretty small, you're still going to find yourself having to travel to different parts of the city. So I would highly recommend having a reliable vehicle and being prepared for commutes around the city. Generally speaking, you can get to and from all the way around the city for about 20 to 25 minutes. If traffic is a bit heavier, you can expect 30 minutes maybe to get clear across the city or get completely around it. So that's general rule of thumb when it comes to crossing the city or just going completely across from one side to the other. Number 5 is going to be job market limitations. So job seekers, just be aware that our market is very niche specific. It is growing and we are seeing an influx of new jobs and new things. We have new tech that's coming into the area. The hospital systems are beginning to grow, especially with Abshire taking a really strong move into the area. We have Our Lady of Lourdes, which is also another medical center. So the medical field here is growing and is getting stronger. The tech field is on the smaller side. So if you're looking for tech jobs or high tech jobs, yes, we are not on the par of other cities, but we are growing. We do have an Amazon fulfillment center that has recently moved to the Karen Crow area. So there are job opportunities on the physical side for working for the company. But as far as if you're looking for jobs and you're looking for the ones that are plentiful, I would say for on the most part, you're going to find healthcare being more plentiful, and of course in the oil and gas industry. That is one of our claims to fame for the area. It's really popular all around the Broussard sector. Broussard is a suburb of the Lafayette area, so of course they have a very strong oil and gas background and refineries, manufacturing, manufacturing. You can find that all along that corridor. And so because of there, that's where our strongest job markets are and where they tend to go around. Also, construction would be a very strong sector that tends to be growing in our area. We're seeing more and more commercial, residential construction, a lot of movement in that area. But of course, if you're comparing it to some major cities, yes, you're going to find that we don't have quite as much diversity and that we are a bit more on the restricted side, which comes with being with this size of a city. Number 6 would be the cultural adjustment to this area. Most people would say it's a positive adjustment because everyone is pretty nice and friendly, but the idea is understanding that we are Cajun and Creole culture down here, so our culture is a bit different. We are very picky when it comes to our food. It is hard for a restaurant to survive out here if it's not a wonderful place. We have a ton of restaurants and option selections because we love food. Most of our entertainment and what we do is revolved around food. So understanding our culture, we love to have good drinks. We love to spend time with family and friends. We gather around at people's homes. We have pool parties. We have barbecues. We have crawfish boils and different kinds of seafood boils. We love our seafood restaurants. That is a huge part of our culture. But just understand that pretty much anytime you have a gathering or people get together, expect that people are expecting you to have some sort of food or do something around food. Is because what we love, it's what we do, it's close to our heart, so be ready for that culture. Something that can be a bit of a culture shock for some people is the fact that the community runs a bit slower. We are not a high-paced city. Everything is a bit on the slower side. You can think of we are warm and welcoming and very community-based. Just keep in mind it might take you some time to find your niche if you're used to more of an anonymous urban environment, because that's really not our style. We tend to be more involved in each other's lives. We know what's going on. People talk, people ask questions. How's your mom? How's your dad? Things like that. We're more family oriented, and so be aware that it's not so much the big city vibes. We are growing in that aspect. We have more jobs and more people coming, but that's not what we focus on. We focus on community and really being close to one another. Last but not least would be 7, would be flooding risk potential. So this is not to scare you and make you think, oh, at any moment Lafayette's gonna flood and have a complete deluge. No, but in 2016 we did have a really terrible flood that did hit this area, and it was devastating to a lot of people's homes. Is that a common occurrence? No. It was considered a 100-year flood anomaly that happened because a storm had got stalled over us. And so because of that, yes, some people that were in low-lying areas, some bayous backed up, and it was a pretty terrible flood. Thankfully, the community came together. Everyone was able to help each other recover, and we have slowly come back to where now it has been a thing of the past. A lot of people don't really think much about that flood anymore, but it is something in history and something to keep in mind, that the weather is extreme. We can get heavy downpours, and flood zones are something to be aware of, especially when you're considering places to live. If you're renting a home that happens to be in a flood zone, you need flood renters insurance. If you purchase a home that is in a floodplain area or has flooded before, you might need to keep flood insurance on the property if you didn't pay cash, because homeowners insurance does not cover flooding situations, that is rising water. It only covers wind-driven rain that can come from maybe a storm or be blown in through a roof or blown in from a window. That is a different type of water. Rising water, you need flood insurance. So keep in mind that that is something that you might have to have an extra amount of expense for your homeowner's expense. Of course, we got to keep in mind that there's also the possibility of hurricanes. The good news is you have plenty of time to prepare for those things, but every year from the months of June all the way to November, we have what's called hurricane season, and we have the possibility of keeping our eyes on the Gulf, because we never know at any point if a storm may pop up and be headed in this direction. The good news is you have time to prepare. We board up our houses, you get out of town, they let you know about evacuations, and you're able to take off. But generally speaking, most of the storms that we've had have not been completely devastating to the area. They knock down tree branches, you have a few shingles that go missing, things like that, but overall not complete and utter devastation, so we're very thankful for that. But besides all of these things, I will say, yes, Lafayette, Louisiana Lafayette is a wonderful place to live. I personally love it here, and I would tell anybody who's thinking about moving here to move, not only because I'm in real estate, but because I have lived in other places. I've lived in Houston, Texas. I've lived in California, in Los Angeles specifically, and I found myself moving back here 5 years ago because I love it. You cannot find the culture, the people, the food, everything that you get with this city. There is something so special about Lafayette, and I invite you guys to come down and check it out for yourself. I think you would really enjoy a visit, and if you need help or somebody to show you around, message me, DM me. Me and my team would love to connect with you and help you. We specialize in new construction properties and luxury homes and helping you buy, sell, or invest in this area. So please, if you'd like to book a call, do that in the link in my bio. I have all of my description and everything that you need right in there for you. And of course, if you guys have any questions, let me know in the comments below and hit that bell so you never miss any of my videos in the future. But thank you guys so much for watching. See you next time.